Hello, Internet. How is everyone this evening? Holy crap, do we have a lot to talk about. I was gonna kick off the show and lead with the the Mexican Navy training boat crashing into the Brooklyn Bridge, but then the Joe Biden news came out, so that seems like it's a bit of a bigger story. Wally World, danger. So long since you've been in the chat, buddy. I'm glad to see you. I might start doing my show a little bit earlier, maybe even at 5 o'clock, just because my buddy Lonnie likes to hang out, but he wakes up super early for work, and I like it when he's in the chat. So I might start doing my show a little bit earlier. Yeah, tons of stuff to get into. We got the Joe Biden has cancer story, but I mean, even before that, we had the look, Joe Biden has dementia, and everybody in the media knew it. That came out like 5 days ago, 6 days ago, something like that. Then we've got obviously the Brooklyn Bridge Navy boat crash story. Then we got the Palm Springs bombing, tons of different California shenanigans, all sorts of crazy shit to get into. So hope everybody's having a happy Sunday. I broke my dog. I took her on a run, and she is just dead. Look at her back there. I wanted to start a little bit earlier because she was over there sitting like a human and looked kind of funny. So, but she laid down right before I hit go live. So, all right, we'll get right into it. If you guys are here, hit that like button, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Wally World, you'd like an earlier stream since you're on Eastern time? I can probably do that. I should probably start at like 5. Starting at 5 means I have to like start prepping the show at around noon. So it kind of takes up my whole Sunday when I do that. Sunday's usually the day I do laundry and stuff like that. So, but you know, show would probably do better if I started earlier because of all the East Coast people. So, yep, I'm probably going to do that. Probably going to start earlier just for you guys because you guys are such good sports. All right, let's go. Let's see what we got here. We got the Joe Biden has dementia story that I'm going to start off with, and then we'll let that lead into how Joe Biden has cancer. Nobody knew, though. It was, he just got diagnosed with it. Sure. Whatever you say, guys. All right, let's go over to Mario Narwhals here. Danger. I think real Biden has been dead for a while, and they're diagnosing fake Biden with cancer so they can usher him out of the limelight. I don't know. They had a funny thing. Yesterday, I saw like Joe Biden was riding around on a bike, and everybody is like, not everybody, someone was like, does this look like somebody that has dementia to you? And there's Joe Biden riding around on the bike. And then the next day they come out and they say Joe Biden has cancer. So it's like, I don't know what's going on. Wally World, no worries. I can catch it on a replay the next day if you go on later. I like it when you're in the chat, though. It's nice when you guys are in the chat. It makes me feel wanted. That no homo. That sounded a little gay. I apologize for that. So yeah, I like it when you guys are in there. I like interacting with you guys while the stream's going. So, all right, let's go over to Mario Narwhals here. He's got a bit of a thread that he put together about Joe Biden's dementia because we're not even going to talk about the cancer stuff yet. Earlier this week, everybody came out and was like, "Yeah, Joe Biden's had cancer. We were kind of covering it up. Everybody in the White House knew. Everybody in the media knew, but sharp as a tack, fit as a fiddle." That's what we were being told by all these freaking liars in the corporate press, just like the vaccine safe and effective and all the other bullshit they lied about Russia. I mean, yeah, the virus originated in China. Ivermectin is horse paste, all the different lies. So let's go over to Mario Narwhals here, see what he has. So Mario says, the great deception. Media's Biden cover-up finally collapses. The dam has broken. Jake Tapper's bombshell revelations and post-presidency confessions from both parties confirm the unthinkable. America's media spent 4 years hiding a constitutional crisis. What they concealed about Biden's cognitive state will destroy their credibility forever. So let's watch this quick clip. This is from the fake news networks themselves. Holly Dath, my husband had a good point that using a pilot or shipmaster, so to speak, in charge of ports, so the captain would have to have been familiar with the port, so the crash seems suspicious. Well, yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. So it it wasn't even the Mexican Navy's captain that was driving that boat. It was either somebody that was working for the ports, or even somebody that was working for the tugboat company. I think it was actually somebody working for the tugboat company. And then I guess the tugboat that was pulling it out wasn't like a newer tugboat, so it's like forward and reverse is slower, and I guess the engines died. I don't know. It's a wild story. We're going to get into that, but first, let's talk about Joe Biden and the corrupt media. So this is over from the fake news networks themselves, CNN.
Guest who sat at Schumer's table, this was at a wedding, recalled him saying, "If things go south at the debate, me, Barack, Nancy, and Hakeem have a plan B." Schumer would later deny it. It's a political problem that we have here.
Did he mean go south at the debate in that Joe Biden totally, had a malfunction the way we saw, or did he mean just go south at the debate like he doesn't perform well? The fact
it could have been both.
The fact that he was only concerned about the optics and not about the fact that the president of the United States might be in cognitive decline, might be mentally impaired, to me speaks volumes about the lack of character of Chuck Schumer. But the idea that we did not know about this for the years leading up to the presidential campaign, we all saw it with our own eyes. Video after video, speech after speech, statement after statement, the Her report. The fact that we have people saying today, "Oh, I didn't know. We had no idea," is outrageous. That's number one. Number two, the cover-up is outrageous. And number three, people were arguing with a straight face that this man could serve 4 more years until, of course, it became untenable at the debate. Honestly, Jake and Alex have done a great service here. This book needs to be written. These stories need to be told because we've lived through the greatest scandal in modern American political history, the cover-up of the decline of the president, the argument that he could serve 4 more years. If he were in office today, if he had somehow won and were in office today, you'd have the same people on TV today saying, he's fine. So, behind closed doors, he's fine. And you know it.
I love he's just calling all of them liars straight to their face. I guess this guy is running for office pretty soon here. I always forget his name, but the token conservative that CNN brought in to sort of push back against all the filthy liberals on there. Not that all liberals are filthy, but these liberals certainly are filthy. I'm not even going to call them liberals. They're illiberal corporate puppets. They're going to say whatever they're paid to say. And it's just nice seeing somebody call them all freaking pieces of shit liars right to their face. So that's always good. All right, let's keep going here. Let's keep going with this. Scott Jennings, thank you, Danger. Yeah, I guess he's running for office too. My buddy, you guys follow Eric Abenante. He was telling me on the phone yesterday that he could see him running for president in 2028. I don't know about that, but yeah, I guess he's running for Senate, I believe, according to my buddy Eric. Anyway, all right, let's keep going. Let's go to End Wokeness. So this is just like a sort of a compilation clip of all the people talking about how Biden's fit as a fiddle, sharp as a tack, all that good stuff. Remember that was the other thing too, that everybody was saying the exact same thing. He's sharp as a tack. Everybody's saying sharp as a tack. Who even says that? Who even says sharp as a tack still? That's how you know these writers are freaking ancient boomers, because they say, oh, you know what? Let's have not even these writers, whoever's handing down all of the corporate press their talking points, whatever intelligence agency that might be. But it's some old boomer that's like, you know what? I got the greatest thing. We're going to have them all say. We're going to have them say that he's sharp as a tack. We'll have them say that. That's what all the kids are saying these days. It was so ridiculous. Everybody's saying the exact same talking point, and it was a silly thing that nobody says anymore. Sharp as a tack. All right, let's keep going. And wokeness this is freaking shitbag ass Don Lemon talking to Karine Jean-Pierre. Sharp as a tack.
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even?
Oh, that's right. Well, yeah, that's it. He's going to go up against Mitch McConnell. That's right. Good. That freaking ancient bastard needs to get out of there.
After 2024.
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. I can't even keep up with him.
The most difficult part about a meeting with President Biden is preparing for it, because he is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented.
I hate Alejandro Mayorkas. He's a piece of shit.
and testify, because I've been working very closely with this president for the past 2 years. I've been knowing him for 30 years. And I'm telling you, this guy's tough. He's smart. He's on his game.
Joe Biden has vision. He has knowledge. He has a strategic thinker.
The president is focused. He's detail oriented. He's always thinking.
Casey Martin, when Joe Scarborough was calling him cogent, that was great, especially because it was like the day before the debate where he went on stage and just literally shit his pants. Even Trump says, I don't know what he just said, and I don't think he knows what he said either. I swear, I think that debate was a setup to put on display Joe Biden's cognitive decline, and then everybody throw him under the bus and put Kamala in there because they didn't want him to run again. That's my conspiracy theory anyway.
About the big picture.
He is engaging. He is capable. He has an incredible record as president.
And I'm often with him on foreign trips. He's at the top of his game.
So he has a vision. He has knowledge. He has judgment. He has a strategic thinking.
I met with the president, 5 or 6 weeks ago, and he seemed fine to me.
I have complete confidence in the president. I have watched him expertly guide meetings of staff and cabinet members. I could not have more confidence in the president.
I would just tell you that I meet frequently with the president.
All right, you guys get the picture. We went through this for years, and it was annoying as hell. So I'm not going to beat that dead horse. So let's go back to this Mario Narwhal's thread that he put together. So that's all with Scott Jennings. So here, so he continues with his second point. The systemic gaslighting campaign against concerned Americans. Remember when questions about Biden's mental fitness were right-wing conspiracy theories? When video evidence was dismissed as deep fakes and cheap fakes. Remember that? They tried to make cheap fakes a thing. Cheap fakes. That one didn't stick, but they tried to make it happen.
It tells you everything. It tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate Republicans are here. And instead of talking about the president's performance in office, and what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country, we're seeing these deep fakes, these manipulated videos. And it is, again, done in bad faith.
Yeah, Nebu. I don't feel bad for him at all. I mean, remember, he kind of tried to take all of our jobs away, those of us that wouldn't get the vaccine, and he called us like a threat to national security and all sorts of shit. So no, I don't wish anything bad upon him, but I certainly don't feel bad for him. I really don't.
Has President Biden seen the polls from CBS News and New York Times that were out this weekend that show he's trailing the former president if they were to go against each other in 2024?
So first, let me just be clear. I'm not going to speak to anything related to 2024. And I also want to be very clear here. Like, we have to really take these polls with a grain of salt, as we should really be very mindful here. And one of the reasons why is just a year ago, right, back in 2022, there was the red wave that never materialized, right? And then back in October of 22, there were multiple stories about how there was going to be a red wave, Democrats were going to be wiped out. And, we're not talking about that, what we were seeing back in October of 2022. Look, and I'll take it even further. In 2011, this time in 2011, we saw Senator Romney, we saw polls of Senator Romney beating President Obama. And that's where those polls were. And so, look, our focus obviously is going to be doing what the president was elected to do, which is focusing on delivering for the American people. And, there's going to be a lot of polls out there. Until the next couple of months, there's going to be a lot of dozens and dozens of polls. It's not my job or my job from here to analyze these polls. Obviously, there are going to be folks on TV who are going to be doing that.
All right, enough with her gaslighting. So Mario continues, the Wall Street Journal bombshell they tried to bury. In June of 2024, multiple lawmakers reported Biden moved slowly and spoke from note cards during crucial meetings. The media's reaction buried the story under accusations of ageism and political bias. The truth was right there. They just refused to report it. Yep. Okay. Just a picture. No video. Oh. All right. And then his fourth point, Special Counsel Hur's devastating findings they wouldn't touch. In February of 2024, Robert Hur described Biden as an elderly man with poor memory who couldn't remember when his son died or when he served as VP. The media's response, attack her. Attack her. Sorry, that it's H-U-R. It's not like her, like a female. That just attack her. Questions his motives, do anything but examine his findings, the cover up in real time. All right, there's a quick clip, so I'll play it.
So is it correct on that February 5th letter that was sent to you asking you to change references to the president's poor memory? Wasn't there a request by the White House to do that?
There was a request, yes.
And Mr. Chairman, I think the record should show that the gentleman from Maryland earlier said that that was not the case. I think he said, nor did he seek to redact a single word of Hur's report. Obviously, Mr. Hur is telling us differently here. And didn't the White House then go to the Attorney General himself and say that he would like to see changes to the references in regards to the president's memory?
The White House counsel did send such a letter.
All right. He said unvaxxed would, the long winter of severe illness and death. Yep. But then he also gave that speech. I don't remember where he was when he gave that speech, but I was in Tennessee at the time when he had like the red backdrop and it totally looked like some Nazi or Soviet era dictator speech from Stalin or some shit when he talked about MAGA being a threat to national security and all that. He just, I'm not feeling super bad for him, you guys. I almost wish that I did, but I don't. I mean, I don't want anybody to get cancer. I don't want any of that stuff to happen. But I'll be honest, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it tonight. Yeah, I'm not. The constitutional crisis nobody wants to discuss. Here's the terrifying question. If Biden was experiencing severe cognitive decline, who was running America? Right. Who was running America? I mean, Mayorkas, what was his name? The Merrick Garland. There's a whole bunch of like who really was running the show back then. Who made decisions about nuclear weapons, economic policy, war, and peace. The media helped to create a shadow government while Americans were kept in the dark. Yeah, and go figure. All of a sudden, October 7th happened, and then there was a war in Ukraine. So all under Biden. And then the Afghanistan withdrawal. It's like it was horrible. Mario's 6th point: journalism's greatest betrayal, from watchdogs to accomplices. This wasn't bias; it was coordinated deception. The press that claims to speak truth to power actively conspired to hide the truth about presidential fitness. They didn't just fail their duty; they betrayed it, and they did it knowingly. Yeah, that's the thing. This wasn't just the media believing the bullshit they were trying to sell us. That no, Joe, see him behind closed doors. Behind closed doors, he's fit as a fiddle, sharp as a tack. But it's just for some reason every time he gets in front of the camera, he can't figure out where he is or where the stairs that enter the stage are. And Jill Biden has to lead him around, showing him what to do and what to say. I mean, everybody knew. Mario's 7th point: the reckoning. Can media credibility ever recover? As more insiders reveal that they witnessed and concealed one truth emerges, this represents journalism's most catastrophic modern failure. Okay, they got a clip from Tucker Carlson, so I want to hear what he has to say on this one because he's always got an interesting perspective.
I think that
you nailed it, Anthony Blinken. That's what everybody. Deidre, you think Obama, Lloyd Austin, Jake Sullivan? Yeah, Blinken seems to be the common consensus. Anthony Blinken was the one really steering the ship behind all of it. But, Alejandro Mayorkas, Merrick Garland, Jake Sullivan, all these guys, they all played a part. Biden was just the ultimate puppet the entire time.
I think that the current administration is very obviously incompetent and the president is senile. That's not an attack. Everyone knows it. It has now been confirmed, I would say, this week in the report that you're all familiar with. But and that's very sad, but it had sort of nothing to do with the interview. I wanted to interview Putin because he's the leader of a country that the US government is sort of at war with, though not in.
And that's the thing too. Remember, didn't the FBI say, oh, Joe Biden can't stand trial because he's basically too old and senile? That was the reason for not prosecuting him. There's a Joe Rogan clip. Bottom line, the Biden cognitive cover-up isn't just a scandal. It's proof of a fundamentally broken system. When the media institutions prioritize political projection over public truth, democracy becomes the casualty. The question isn't whether they lied. We know they lied. The question is, what else are they hiding? Like everything. And what it's done is it makes any of us that watch the corporate press, anything they say, we automatically assume that it's not true. And we have to start coming up with our own explanations. And it sucks. I mean, the clip from Dan Bongino and Kash Patel that's going around right now that I'll play in a minute here, that it makes you wonder, just when you get to a certain level, are you just automatically blackmailed and threatened into doing whatever they want you to do, and there's no escaping that? Because it seems like it happens to everybody. Like Speaker Mike Johnson. Remember Speaker Mike Johnson? Before he became Speaker of the House, he was super against the Ukraine war, super against funding foreign wars. And then he gets in there and all of a sudden he's like pro-funding Ukraine for as long as they need. You see, I mean, geez, Tulsi Gabbard, like, it's frustrating, folks. It's frustrating.
Biden and Harris were both called to the White House.
Well, thank God they're on the case.
From wherever they were. I don't know if it has anything to do with this.
I feel great that those two are back.
Well, where have they been?
Finally, someone that can deal with this. I think Biden was in Africa, and I think she's like getting drunk at a Hillstone.
I told you I've been describing them as the last managers at Blockbuster Video.
I mean, that's what they are.
That's what it is.
It's true.
It's a dead-end job.
It's the end.
You don't even have to fucking show up. Just this is bullshit.
It's the end.
We haven't heard a peep out of either one of them until, well...
You guys know I still have a Blockbuster DVD. I'm only saying that because you mentioned Blockbuster. I still have a Blockbuster DVD that I never returned. That is sitting in my box of DVDs in my shed. Still have it. It's like a novelty item.
We started talking about it yesterday when the information about Biden's decline came out and how readily
it was covered up.
It was covered up instantaneously. Like they were seeing it right away, like from the first days in office. They were seeing him decline.
I heard before he ran.
Yeah.
He met with donors, and I knew someone in the meeting, and they were like, he doesn't seem great.
No.
This was before he ran the first time.
Bro, I was saying that during the election, and people were saying that, don't you know he stutters? Like, don't you know he stutters? Like, this was one of the things that people were saying to me. He stutters. And I was like, no. Go back to watch him from 40 years ago. He doesn't stutter. Watch him 20 years ago. He doesn't stutter. Watch him when he was the vice president. He didn't fucking stutter. That's not stuttering. You know what that is. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a fucking duck, man, unless DARPA made it.
Right. Unless DARPA made it,
really
and then it's an orb.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you go back and you watch Biden's old footage of him in the Senate being super duper racist, he's not stuttering. He's very cognizant. He knows exactly what he's saying. He's making what he thinks are good points, but he's speaking very clearly. North side battle stations, we are under Mexican attack. Not so much. It's more like we broke their boat. That's more what it looks like. All right, I'm gonna try and get through this as quick as possible because I've already spent more time on this than I wanted to. Okay, good. That was Mario's last point. So I already played that one. What am I doing here? Let's go over to, okay. So now today's news. Today's news, it came out for immediate release, May 18th, 2025. Statement from the personal office of former President Joe Biden. Last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increasing urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, the metastasis to the bone. With metastasis to the bone, while this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The president and his family are reviewing treatment options with physicians. Okay, so this is from Clint Russell. You guys remember? Well, a bunch of people are sharing this clip now. So do you remember this? This was what, like a year ago, 2 years ago? Joe Biden slipped up and said, "Hey, I have cancer." Remember that? Like, wasn't that weird?
And because it was a 4-lane highway that was accessible, my mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer, and why for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation. And
so it's not like that was a gaffe. I mean, he said, "I have cancer," and then he continued to talk about cancer. So was this really just a new diagnosis? Was it? Or are they trying to take attention off the fact that the media was covering up Joe Biden's cognitive decline for his entire presidency, and now gain sympathy for Joe Biden and be like, look, he was recently diagnosed with cancer. Let's take it easy on the guy. And everybody talk about that. Don't talk about how the entire corporate press was covering up the fact that Joe Biden was a shell of a man and pooped his pants and didn't know where he was 1 minute to the next. Seems plausible to me. I don't know. Northside. I didn't say it was a great attack plan. Yep. The plan was always that Biden wins and we get dictator Kamala. No, I don't think Kamala was the plan. I don't think they wanted Kamala. I think Biden screwed everyone when he endorsed Kamala, and they planned on having a primary. So once Biden endorsed Kamala, they had to go with her. I think they wanted to go with Gavin, and Biden, as a big screw you to everybody, in like a moment of mental clarity, a rare moment of mental clarity, Biden's like, you know what? I'm going to endorse Kamala and freaking force that wretched wench. Ooh, that's the word I got suspended for on Twitter. I called somebody a wench, and I got suspended from Twitter. This is after Elon bought it. Anyway, hopefully nobody gets mad at me and I get suspended on my channel. But yeah, I think that's what happened. That Kamala was forced on us. None of the Democrat Party wanted Kamala to actually run. I think they wanted to go with Gavin. His stories are like listening to Grandpa Simpson, Abe Simpson. At least Abe Simpson was funny. Okay, actually, your theory is plausible. Okay, hey, thanks. Thank you. It's good to know I'm not always completely retarded. Okay, let's keep going here. Benny Johnson. So, all right. So he points this out. I'm not going to read the whole letter, but he's got a letter from a physician here, from Joe Biden's physician. It says, so this is from Benny Johnson. He says, "This is the most dangerous cover-up in the history of the presidency." Might be a little hyperbolic there. "Last summer, White House physician Dr. Kevin O'Connor swore to the American people that Joe Biden was completely fit for the presidency. No issues, nothing to see. Now we learn that Biden has advanced prostate cancer. But wait, advanced prostate cancer takes 10 plus years to develop to the stage where Biden's diagnosis is. Prostate cancer is also easy to find. Simple blood tests or prostate exam will give you nearly 100% accurate results. You're telling me that the best doctors and testing on earth did not find Biden's cancer in all these years of testing? Was every medical report a lie for how long?" He says, "Bullshit. This was the worst cover-up in the history of the presidency. Absolute scandal. They knew, they lied, they hid it for power. People need to be held accountable for this evil." So yeah, I think that's kind of like what all of us are thinking is like, there's no way that they didn't know that he had cancer, just like there's no way that he wasn't suffering from some sort of dementia or cognitive decline the whole time. I mean, we really going to believe the corporate press now? Like, Breaking news. Joe Biden all of a sudden has super advanced prostate cancer. And the best doctors in the world just didn't happen to see it. Now, Benny Johnson's not a doctor, so let's go over to Dr. David Ameti and see what he has to say, because he is MD. So David Ameti, and he's much more sympathetic to the situation than I am. Bless his heart, because he's a good dude, much better dude than I am. President Biden's diagnosis of advanced hormone-sensitive prostate cancer with a Gleason score of 9 and bone metastasis is a sobering reminder of how aggressive this disease can be when caught late. So he seems to be believing the corporate press. As a physician and former prostate cancer researcher, I know that while early-stage prostate cancer is often curable, high-grade cases like this require lifelong management. Hormonal therapies can slow progression and improve quality of life, but they are not curative. This is a moment to raise awareness. Men over 50 and early for those with risk factors should talk to their doctor about PSA screening. Early detection saves lives. Okay, fair enough. He's just being, he's MD. He's taking it at face value. I'm not going to hold that against him. He's a good dude, but I'd really like to push him on. Like, you really think like the best doctors in the world missed this? I mean, really? So he continues. He quote tweeted his own post. Quote posted his own post. They need to turn it back into Twitter. It needs to be called Twitter again, because just X isn't working for anyone. As I process the news of President Biden's advanced prostate cancer diagnosis, a couple thoughts. It's surprising that with exceptional medical care, didn't have an early diagnosis prior to the bone metastasis. Okay, interesting. Even if curable / treatable, bone mets are very painful. I think he meant to say bone meds. I don't know. Not faulting his doctors, as no cancer is 100% detectable early, even with the best medical care. Let's pray for his comfort and health. You're a better man than me, Dr. Ameti. I'm not going to pray for him. I'm just not. I'm sorry. I'm not going to. So that's sort of the Joe Biden story. They covered up the fact that he had severe cognitive decline, and everyone in the government, everyone in the world, and especially the corporate press, including Joe Biden's press secretary, all lied through their teeth for 4 years, telling us that he's fit as a fiddle, sharp as a tack. After that news came out that they were covering it up the whole time, 6 days later, we get the announcement that Joe Biden all of a sudden has super advanced prostate cancer. Look over here. Don't look at all the stuff we covered up. In my opinion, this just shines a brighter light on the media covering up something else that's gigantic and huge. There's a joke that I could make there, but I'm not going to. The media covered up that he had severe cognitive decline, and I don't know if the media knew that he had super advanced prostate cancer, but I would bet a lot of money. Well, no, I wouldn't, because I don't have a lot, but I would bet things that Joe Biden's doctors knew that he had prostate cancer the whole time. Why did they not treat it and allow it to get to his bones and metastasize? Maybe they didn't want to put him in chemo while he's president. Not a great look. And then they have to admit that Joe Biden has cancer, and he wouldn't have been able to complete his term. If you can't have your president in chemo, they would have had to put Kamala in there. So I don't know. I'm just tinfoiling theories out and just seeing maybe the jabs accelerated it. You really think he took them? I don't even think he took them. I don't think a bunch of people took them. I think they took saline. I don't know. That's, again, me being a conspiracy theorist, but I don't think a lot of these high-level politicians really took the freaking COVID shot. I really don't. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm just speculating. So there it is, the Joe Biden story. I got through it in 35 minutes. It's better than I thought I would do, actually. I actually thought it would take more like 45 minutes to an hour, so I'm glad I got through that. Northside, maybe he was on chemo, and that is why his mental state was so bad. Don't you see effects of chemo more, like losing more of his hair and crap like that? I don't know. Maybe it wasn't even Biden the whole time they were seeing. Maybe it was his freaking body double. I don't know. And if he was on chemo, would it have metastasized in his bones? Casey Martin over on Rumble. Doubt Joe was jabbed for real. Yeah, I doubt that he took the shot. I just seriously doubt that he took the shot. All right, let's keep going. Then we got this crazy freaking Brooklyn Bridge story with the Mexican Navy vessel. Now I didn't even know that they had freaking like sailboats in navies, and I was correct. I was like, how the hell is this a Navy vessel? It's a sailboat. And people corrected me. They're like, we have the USS Constitution, and it's like a training boat. And I was like, sorry guys, I'm not a Navy guy. I didn't know these things. And so I guess these are training vessels and stuff like that. And my first thought was like, Mexico crashed their boat into the Brooklyn Bridge. And it turns out that's probably not what happened. It probably wasn't anyone from the Mexican Navy that had anything to do with the bridge crash. It was probably either someone from the Port Authority or the tugboat company, because it did have a tugboat. Danger, Congress was exempt from getting COVID jab. Were they? Were they really? I wonder how many people even like admittedly didn't take it. I'm curious. It's funny because I know doctors that didn't take it. It's funny. I know nurses that didn't take it, that somehow didn't lose their job. Book Bunny, shout out. Probably not watching, but I know she didn't take it. I hope I'm not putting her on blast there. Sorry. But yeah, she got away. She unscathed somehow. So, all right, let's go to this Brooklyn Bridge disaster, because I guess 2 people died. So this was, at first I saw it and I was just like, oh man, that's bad. The stuff's gonna, like the mast, is that what it's called? The mast is gonna fall down and injure people. There was people up there. There's people up there on the freaking mast, like hanging from it. I don't know. Seems strange to me, but they were up there, and I guess 2 people died, a lot of people injured. Not good. So another shocking view of the Brooklyn Bridge disaster. The arm Potomac BE-01, a Mexican Navy sail training ship on a goodwill visit to New York City since May 13th, slammed into the Brooklyn Bridge while trying to leave the South Street seaport. So you guys have all seen this footage, right? But it's pretty crazy to watch. So you can see people up there. You see, look at. So, and you can see the boat's clearly going backwards as well. So, not good at all, folks. So here's another view of the same thing. And see, you guys can look on top of, like, above the sails on the post, whatever these things are called. There's tons of people standing up there. Like, this is bad. It's so much worse when you realize how many people were up there. I mean, you see people hanging. This is just so bad. Casey Martin, U.S. postal employees were jab exempt as well. How is that possible? I thought all federal employees were mandated to take it. Northside, the fact that they were on the mass when that happened, that's not funny. It's not funny, Northside. It's bad. 2 people died, dude. Okay, so this is from Mario Narwhals, and he says, police boats swarmed to save Manhattan Bridge. After wrecking part of the Brooklyn Bridge, the Potomac, I'm probably butchering that, lost power and kept drifting. I don't think the boat itself lost power. I think the tugboat did. Straight at the next bridge, like it was on a boss level. I think they tried to be cute there. Dozens of police boats rushed in, forming a last-second barrier to stop the runaway tall ship from body slamming the Manhattan Bridge too. So it was just a just a time lapse of boats in it's the Hudson River, right? So you can see them all converging on the boat, trying to get it to not smash into the Manhattan Bridge as well. So, and you guys can see it was docked right here. So, you know, it goes nose in. I don't know boat terminology, so I'm just going to call the front of it the nose. And then it's pulled out backwards with the tugboat. And then I guess the tugboat lost power and it went backwards right into the bridge. No bueno, folks. And then the crappy thing is, like 4 days ago, the New York Post put out this video of them training on the boat. So this didn't age well. So look at that. Like was there that many of them standing on top of it? Oh man. And oh geez. It's a shame. It's a beautiful ship. I mean, very, very beautiful ship. All right, let's keep going. So this dude, John A. Conrad, put a thread together. This is all the stuff we know. So this is all the stuff we know about the ship. So he says, here's my thread on what we know so far. For notes, I have been a competitive sailor and I am licensed to captain ships of any size, but I have not sailed tall ships. So, all right, he continues. First of all, the photo confirms that Mexican Navy's cadets on the highest yard arms. Okay, those are called yard arms. So the mast, I guess the wood things that come off the side are called yard arms. The incident happened at 8:30 p.m. with current traveling upriver. The currents aren't strong, but it's only a one and a half hours after low tide, so they were still building and hadn't reached maximum, which happens approximately 3 hours after low tide. Average maximum current at the bridge is usually 2 to 3 knots. What you can tell about the current is as the East River at 9 p.m. May 17th based on this data. Okay, so it's a chart showing the currents. But the wind was also blowing at about 10 knots from the southwest to the northeast. So it would have contributed to pushing the ship into the bridge. It continues. She was docked at the South Street Seaport in Manhattan, very close to the bridge. And this recent photo shows she was facing toward the land, meaning she had to reverse out into the river. So like I said, it was going nose into the dock, and it had to be pulled out backwards. So she was escorted by a tugboat, likely the Charles McAllister. That is a powerful but older tugboat built in 1967. The newer tugboats are tractor tugs that can push or pull instantly in any direction. These older tugboats only have a rudder and forward or reverse. In all ports, so they can go like side to side, the newer ones. I got it. So in all ports, foreign ships must take on a state ship pilot. These are experienced ship captains who work independently. New York is different. You take on a harbor pilot only when entering or leaving the harbor. When docking and undocking, you take on a docking pilot who works for the tugboat company. So she likely had a McAllister pilot aboard giving commands to the tug. So this is looking like more it's the tugboat company's responsibility. The first photo of the tugboat shows her pushing on the stern as the ship reverses off the dock. Historically, in American ports, the tugboats tie up on the quarter where we see the tug. Okay, I don't know what that means. Maybe some of you boat people can help me there. What does the quarter mean? Yeah, okay. In European ports, the tugboats pull on a line connected to the bow. Many American ports are moving to the European model because in an emergency, the tugboat can tow the ship directly. cake so you can see a tugboat pulling a freighter there. But that's not always practical on tall ships because the bowsprit sticks out so far. Okay, so this is that big thing coming off the nose here, the bowsprit. You can see here on the AIS feed her back out of the dock and lose power. So is he talking about the tugboat or the actual? So does this sailboat have an engine as well? I'm confused because are they talking about the sailboat losing power? Or are they talking about the actual tugboat losing power? The $1 million question was, what did the tugboat do? You can see here the tugboat was first set up on the stern and was pushing to keep the stern from falling off. But the tug slips forward and starts pushing on the bow, likely so that when the ship regains power, she can go full speed ahead with maximum force. So I guess it did have a motor. Okay, yes, the sailboat has engines. Okay, all right. So, what's the point? Doesn't that defeat the purpose? I don't know. I'm so retarded when it comes to this. The tugboat is powerful. 2 Caterpillar 12 D398 turbo diesel engines rated at 1,800 horsepower. But because the tugboat is not tied to the ship, she can only push. She can't pull the ship against the wind and current. So is the tugboat like on the wrong side of the boat? Why wasn't the tugboat tied to the ship as normal practice? Why didn't they order 2 tugboats instead of one to save cost? Question mark. Why did the ship's engines fail? Did it lose power because of an electric problem like the Baltimore Bridge collision? A lot of people are comparing it to that situation, or a mechanical problem. Are we certain the engine lost power? I don't know. What we know for certain is that the captain of the ship, the chief engineer, the pilot, and the tugboat captain will all share varying degrees of fault. Who will get the majority of the blame? That's difficult to tell. But the immediate concern is getting emergency treatment for the injured cadets. So the secondary concern is securing the ship in place so she doesn't cause more damage, and it appears additional tugboats and fireboats quickly arrive to assist. And finally, too early to speculate, but there is a wake suggesting she might have been moving faster than the current. Could her engine have been stuck in reverse? Okay, yeah, so they're saying there's like a wake in the water, so it might not have lost power, it was just stuck in reverse. For updates on damage to the bridge itself, be sure to follow Matt Dersh. All right. Update, 2 sailors have passed. So I don't know if there's any news since then, if any additional people passed away, because it's surprising only 2 people died. That was horrific. So he says FDNY describes the initial fireboat response here. Of note, crews from 2 heavy rescue trucks were shuttled out. These are guys with specialized training in rope rescues. All right. There's another thread from the boat pilot that we're not going to get into. All right. Yeah, I think that's all I got on the Brooklyn Bridge tugboat, or the Brooklyn Bridge boating accident situation. So yeah, that was, jeez. Lots of news this weekend. Lots of crazy shit happened this weekend. And the Palm Springs thing, which we're going to get into next. That's what we're going to get into now. All right. So, any guys got thoughts? Any guys got thoughts on the boat situation? What happened? Was it stuck in reverse? Did the tugboat lose power? Did the sailboat lose power? What the hell happened? And how can this happen? Pretty crazy. All right, we'll keep going. Let's go over to the you guys heard about this explosion that happened at the fertility clinic over in Palm Springs, right? If you guys aren't familiar with the California area, Palm Springs is, if you know the Inland Empire, like Ontario, if you're flown into the Ontario airport, or Riverside, it's in the desert. It's way out in kind of the middle of nowhere in California. It's probably 2 hours southeast of LA, in the middle of the desert. Very, very hot in Palm Springs. And there was a big giant, well, it was a car. It looks like it was a car bomb. And it was definitely what I mean, you call it a terrorist attack, because it was intentional. And it looks like the only person that died, however, is the guy that was in the car. Why he stayed in the car with the bomb, I don't know. But there's some aerial footage of the aftermath here, so you guys can see. This is the fertility clinic. You can see it blown to, well, it's not blown to smithereens, but there's definitely some damage. Let's watch the footage here. All right, there's no audio. This is helicopter footage of the fertility clinic. Pretty wild.
There's the car was near.
This guy's voice creeped me out. It scared me. I wasn't expecting any audio. So what's crazy is this was a fertility clinic, not an abortion clinic, fertility clinic. So I guess in vitro fertilization type stuff, I would imagine. Holly Hath, yesterday, all the comments on the posts were blaming Republicans, of course. Not surprised there. Let's go over to Colin Rugg. So this is just some other footage of the aftermath. So same building, obviously, and here's just a different angle of it from the ground.
Was so crazy. It blew out the glass of this liquor store. Look at this liquor store. Damn. That was someone's body part.
Yeah, that was the thing. There was literally body parts in the road. So pretty gnarly. This is some this is like some CC, well, it's like home surveillance footage of somebody who's got a camera pointed at their pool, but you can hear the blast in this footage, and it's pretty gnarly. I don't know how far away from the fertility clinic this was, but this is somebody's home surveillance footage. Pretty gnarly, pretty loud explosion. Keep going here. It's from Nick Sorter. All right, so this is the FBI giving an update on the situation. So Nick Sorter says, breaking, no embryos were harmed after the, so he calls the person an anti-pro-life terrorist, bombed a fertility clinic in Palm Springs per the Department of Justice. This is nothing short of a miracle. The only fatality was the terrorist himself, who wrote a leftist anti-life manifesto condemning the birth of children. Good riddance, he says. What is going on? All right, so let's listen to the FBI guy talk about this, because this dude seems freaking wacky. Mini Timothy McVeigh. Well, a lot of people didn't think Timothy McVeigh actually did the Oklahoma bombing, but we'll leave that for another episode.
As I mentioned yesterday, our efforts to positively identify the deceased individual here has been found. We are fairly confident that that subject is Guy Edward Bartkus, 25-year-old from, again, Palm Springs. From, again, 29 Palms. This is the same individual that I mentioned yesterday. However, due to our investigation, we were keeping some of that information close hold, but we were now releasing it to you today. The FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force indicates that we believe he was the subject found near the vehicle. I also want to provide the vehicle information to you. He was driving a 2010 silver Ford Fusion sedan with license plate number 8, H as in Henry, W as in William, S as in Sam, 848. Again, that is license plate number 8 as in Henry, 8, H as in Henry, W as in William, S as in Sam, 848. That's critical because we need the public's help in identifying gaps in our investigation. We know where Mr. Bartkus was at about 6 a.m. We know the timeline of when he entered the city. However, we need the public's help for identifying where he traversed within the city before the explosion went off.
Okay, what a freaking weirdo. All right, this is from the New York Post. So I'll play the video and not read the article because I'm lazy and I have 2 articles to read later, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna play the video. So several eyewitness accounts capture aftermath of large explosions near Palm Springs, California. All right, we already saw this footage. All right, maybe we didn't see this yet.
Hard to see. It's hard to tell if it was just the cause. To me,
All right, maybe I do have to read the article because. Oh no. Okay. Now we got some info on the actual terrorist himself. So, yeah, I'll skip that New York Post article and we'll go straight over to Tony Sharaga. This guy's like an investigative reporter, and he has a lot of inside information about intelligence agencies. So he's a investor, board member, big data pioneer, intel ops, CIA, NSA contractor, and whistleblower. So former CIA contractor. So he says apparently an elitist and an affilist, I don't even know what that word is. An affilist just bombed a fertility clinic to save the planet. Sam Faddis is a retired CIA operations officer. On Saturday morning, a car bomb exploded outside the American Reproductive Fertility Clinic in Palm Springs, California. The bomber who died in the attack appears to have been Edward Bartkus, who left behind a number of postings at a site called Promotalism.com, condemning the disease of life. Bartkus, it appears, was something called an affilist. A what? Okay, so thank you for explaining, because I don't know what that is. Ethylism and its related ideology of promortalism are philosophies that hold that all human life, or in some cases all life, should be extinguished. Okay, this guy's a freaking whack job. Woven into this madness is the idea that some super AI will take over the planet, and since we are all ones who created it, this AI, we must go. Okay, every new human being only adds to the inevitable suffering. Therefore, all births should be prevented. The human race must die out. We are a disease. We must go extinct. And this is in quotes, so I imagine this is from his manifesto. The end goal is for the truth, ethylism, to win. And once it does, we can finally begin the process of sterilizing the planet of the disease of life. Life can only continue as long as people hold the delusional belief that it is not a zero-sum game causing senseless torture and messes it can never or only partially clean up. That reads very weird, but I'll continue. I think we need a war against pro-lifers. It is clearly at this point that these people aren't only stupid, they simply do not care about the harm they are perpetuating by being willing agents for DNA molecule. This should not be seen as tolerable to any intelligent or caring person. Don't be fooled by the ones who play stupid or pretend they don't understand these simple truths. It's just their way of playing with you and saying, F you, we don't care. A lot of psychos are attracted to the philosophy because they love to play mind games with people. Their intent is not to find any kind of truth. It is to have fun fucking with you. Most online debaters I've seen are clearly not really debaters. It's one person fooling another into thinking it's a debate, when in reality, the only one doing the fooling has no intent of changing their mind or anything, and sometimes it's both parties. Ha ha ha. Posting by Bartkus. What a freaking nutbag. The Sandy Hook gunman Adam Lanza held similar views. Bartkus considered Lanza a hero. Oh boy, the Zizians, you guys know the Zizians? They're another whack job cult. Who we reported recently come from the same school of thought. They are lost in a wilderness of ideas, part madness, part science fiction. Instead of simply sitting in front of their computer screens blogging, however, they're actively killing people. What once seemed a province of particularly lost computer nerds and gamers has suddenly become deadly serious. Upon reflection, there is something that seems almost inevitable about this kind of insanity. We have, as a society, popularized the notion that the world is coming to an end for decades now. Our young people have grown up being taught that the planet is dying and that it is we who are killing it. Even as hard scientific data shows the ice shelf in Antarctica expanding, the nations are building icebreakers hand over fist to access the ice-free Arctic. Our children are being indoctrinated and raised in a church of global warming. And while we have made this kind of pseudoscience religion, we have waged war on real religion and morality. Even everything is relative, right and wrong do not exist. Child molesters are minor attracted persons. Thugs burning cities are peaceful protesters. Spouses betraying their marriage vows are simply polyamorous. Looters are only seeking reparations. Illegal immigrants flaunting laws and destroying our cities are refugees. Do we want you? Do whatever you want. Burn, loot, kill, maim. Right and wrong do not exist. Decency, honesty, integrity, and morality are for suckers. Mock God, mock religion. There are no limits and no ideals. Jeez, he's not wrong. I've known for a few years now I wasn't going to allow myself to make it past my 20s. This is quoting his manifesto again. So this is also from Bartkus here. I've known for years now I wasn't going to allow myself to make it past my 20s. Recently, my best friend Sophie killed herself. She got the guy she was living with to shoot her while she was sleeping. Her preferred method. Jeez, what the hell? And I don't think I really knew much how much it was going to affect me. I never related to someone so much. I can't imagine I would ever would again. We were both anti-sex. Don't mistake for asexual. I'm talking like r/anti-sex, misandrous, veg anti-natalists, negative utilitarians, both also borderline personality disorder. Oh, that is a shocker. Anyway, we got along well, and it was very nice, especially when you feel like you are in an apocalypse and nobody else seems to get anything. That's another posting by Bartkus. Bartkus thought he was saving the planet. He wasn't. He was just part of the massive ongoing slow motion suicide of a nation that has lost its way. There will be many more like him unless we regain our footing. Rededicate ourselves to the truth and return to our values and morals that made this nation great. So, wow. Okay. This guy was a nutbag. And yeah. So, yeah, very interesting. So I'm going to pause my California block here and go over, since we're kind of talking about, FBI stuff here, because, well, I have a lot more California stuff to talk about, and I want to make sure that I talk about the, I'm a little out of order here, guys. I apologize. So, yeah, you know what? I'll start here. So, we had the James Comey thing happen. What was that yesterday? Was it the day before? I think it was the day before yesterday. James Comey posted this to his Instagram. It says, "Look what I found walking along the beach," and it was seashells spelling out 8647. 8647. So this has stirred up quite a bit of controversy, the whole 8647 thing and what exactly it means. And I'm not going to 100% agree that he was actually saying to take out Trump, like with violence, but I'm not going to discount that either. Oh man, my buddy Remy's been working on an intro for me for my show here, and I think he just completed it. He just sent it to me, so maybe I'll have that ready to go for next episode. So this is from James Comey. He posted this to his Instagram. You guys see this? 8647. Now, working at the nightclubs for as long as I did, when we kicked somebody out and they were never allowed back, we'd say 86 them. We 86 that person. So they were never allowed back. They were kicked out. A lot of people are saying this was James Comey calling for the assassination of the president. That's what they're saying he was calling for. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube, but I said it, so whatever. I'm not calling for it. I'm saying that's what people were saying James Comey was calling for, including Brian. Well, somebody else that started posting these. So a bunch of people started posting 8647 on the internet because, people are freaking drones and they just do whatever. James Comey is the former FBI director who decided not to prosecute Hillary Clinton, even though he proved that she destroyed not confidential, like top secret information, and had it stored on her own private servers in her bathroom. They destroyed them with hammers, that kind of thing. Well, this is from Brian Krasenstein. He posted it to his Twitter, I believe, probably his other social media platforms too. And well, Krasenstein got a little visit from the Secret Service. So the Secret Service showed up at Krasenstein's house. I would imagine they also talked to James Comey. I haven't heard much else about it, but this is Ed Krasenstein, who I think is Ed. It's either Ed or Brian. Who cares? They're the same person.
So moments ago, the Trump administration just had the U.S. Secret Service come to my house. You might be wondering why. Because yesterday I made a post that said 8647, which means, if you look it up, get rid of Trump, as in impeach Donald Trump, as in 25th Amendment Donald Trump, as in vote Trump out of office.
What does he mean, vote Trump out of office? He's serving his last term. I don't know, man.
Why, you may ask? Because last night on the news, Donald Trump made the claim that 8647 means assassinate him.
What do you think, chat? Do you think Comey was actually calling for the assassination, or do you think that they were just saying kick him out of office? I'm on the fence about it.
Which it doesn't. I would absolutely never, ever call for violence against anyone, let alone the President of the United States. So the Secret Service agents were extremely friendly. They were like, yeah, we understand. It's just something we have to do because Washington told us to. Washington told them to come give me a visit. That's what he said. Trump wants to be a dictator, and I will not be intimidated into not voicing my opinions or my dissent against him, ever. When Biden was president, multiple large social media accounts on the right used the term 8646, meaning get rid of Biden. But now they want to.
And I think that's true. I think there was large accounts saying that about Biden too. So I can't name any off the top of my head, but I wouldn't doubt that it's true.
Create this new meaning in order to go after people who disagree with them. We're not going to become a dictatorship. Keep fighting back in a non-violent way.
Lonnie, you've never heard Ed Krasenstein talk? Oh yeah, he's like 5'2" too, right? Like he's a tiny dude. He blocked me. He used to follow me. Ed used to follow me, and we used to get into it back and forth all the time. But he blocked me when the second Trump assassination attempt happened, and Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and said somebody else just tried to kill the president, and Ed Krasenstein was like, no, that's not what happened. He said a bunch of crap, and then like very shortly after that, everybody verified like, yeah, he was hiding in the bushes, and he had his freaking muzzle pointed through the fence and was very clearly going to try and shoot him. And then I can't even remember what I said to him, but I was like, hey, he suppressed my post. I took a screenshot of him denying it because he deleted it. And I posted, and I said, the internet is forever, Brian, or Ed. It was Ed, not Brian. And he blocked me for that. It was pretty funny. And now I can't see his posts anymore, which I'm not upset about. The difference between Trump and Biden is Biden wasn't almost assassinated twice. Yeah, that's an excellent point there. Like, Trump had 2 attempts on his life, and now you've got the former director of the FBI, somebody that went after Trump, like was very much in the Hillary camp, obviously. And after there's been 2 attempts on Donald Trump's life, the former FBI director comes out and says 8647. So yeah, I mean, it's a good point. If Biden didn't have any attempts on his life. So yeah, it's a good point, Lonnie. I didn't really think about that too much. So this is Ed Krasenstein's post. This is from Kevin Dalton. So Kevin Dalton seems to think that Ed's playing stupid here. He says, Ed is pretending to be confused about why the Secret Service showed up at his house after advocating for the assassination of President Trump, because he followed up later saying he wasn't calling for violence, but it was because that makes it okay. Okay, so he says, I literally just had the Secret Service at my house. More details in a minute. Here's more details about the Trump administration had the Secret Service show up at my home simply for posting 8647, followed by an explanation in the thread saying I'm not calling for violence. Okay, whatever. Yeah, so that was the thing. Okay, now let's make this whole thing tinfoily. So, so that day that James Comey posted that, so some people are alleging it wasn't about Trump at all. It was apparently, and I haven't done the math on this. Maybe you guys can do the math in the chat. So take the date 2 days ago. So what was that? May 16th, and add up how many days since September 11th, 2001, how many days that was. And this guy, Wilson Law, says, did you know today is 8,647 days since September 11th, 2001. What on earth was James Comey implying? So he's saying that it wasn't about Trump at all. It was actually 8,647 days since September 11th, which I don't know. You guys do the math in the chat. I mean, I can pull up my calendar here, but I'm not going to do it live on the show. But apparently that's exactly how many days that it was since September 11th. Was 2 days ago when James Comey posted that. Apparently, it was 8,647 days later. And this isn't the only account that I've seen say that, so I find that pretty interesting. I don't know about you guys, but I find it pretty darn interesting. So we'll we'll stay in the FBI vein here, and let's go over to a little interview that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino just gave. And what the hell, you guys? Like, what the hell is going on here? So I don't know if you guys saw this clip yet, but this to me looks like a hostage video. All right. Dan Bongino, Kash Patel talking about Epstein.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
I know it's hard work.
What the hell? This is super frustrating to me, you guys. I mean, I 100% don't think that I 100% don't think that Epstein killed himself. I mean, you know, the guards fell asleep, the cameras went out, the coroner that did the autopsy said that his injuries to his neck were more consistent with somebody strangling him. The way he would have had to do it was like sitting down with I'm not buying it, you guys. I don't know. Why would Kash Patel and Dan Bongino come out and say that now? Like, this just makes me think that they've been compromised somehow. Tell me I'm different. Dangerous, so a lot more than 8647. You did the math from 2 days ago back to, yeah, that is a lot more, isn't it? Well, actually, I don't know. I can't do the math off the top of my head. I'm kind of dumb. Do the math. How many days was it, Lonnie? Come on, do me a favor. All right, so this is it's not really FBI stuff, but it kind of is, because it kind of goes to the Epstein stuff with him, you know, getting blackmail and human trafficking, underage girls, that kind of thing. So this is you guys know Alex excuse me, Alex Rosen. He does like undercover sting videos where he gets people to like expose themselves as child predators, and he goes and he meets with them, and then he busts them. He calls the cops and stuff. So this was So this is a federal employee, Ross Yeager, was busted. This is from Wall Street Apes. Was busted by a private citizen. That's Alex Rosen, going to meet up with a 13-year-old girl for sex. He is the head of OSHA. You guys know? You guys, anybody in the trades knows who OSHA is? He's the head of OSHA in 5 states. The evidence was handed over to the police, and he was not arrested. Alex Rosen, I Fight for Kids. We just caught Ross Yeager, the head of OSHA for 5 states, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and both Dakotas. He was messaging who he thought was a 13-year-old girl very inappropriately, including sending penis pictures to her. Yellowstone County sheriffs here in Montana, they are not arresting him today, despite the ample evidence of what we think is a crime. So why wasn't he arrested, you guys? So let's watch the clip. Thanks, Northside. I apologize. Man, every now and then I do this. I'm rusty. Let me start this clip over again. Bob Tiergarden, nice to see you. Sorry, that was just dead air, wasn't it? Yep. Sorry, guys. Here's the clip from the beginning.
Okay. So did Sorgen see your penis at all?
No.
Okay. So no. And I understand. I fully understand. But obviously, in this case, whatever happened has already happened. Right? It's about.
Oh no, it's a police.
Yeah. Did your How's it going, sir? We're just having a conversation here with Ross. He's the head of OSHA over 5 states for the federal government. Basically, you're not going to talk to a 13-year-old again, are you?
No.
Last time doing it?
Yeah, everything's deactivated, done.
Okay. You're not going to send a penis picture to one again, are you?
No.
Okay. And there's going to be no mishaps that happen
Did
like
my wife call?
there's going to be. You're not going to send a penis pic to one again, are you? It's last time doing something like this. Okay. All right. No more mishaps with your niece, right? With Sorgen.
No,
Okay.
they don't live here anymore. but
Okay.
no.
You're not going to rub her butt again. She's not going to brush your penis again.
No.
Okay. Well, yeah. Interesting clip. So I just asked Grok, Lonnie. You said so. I just asked Grok, just how many days has it been since September 11, 2001? And the answer is it has been 8,650 days. So it looks like it was right on the button. I think maybe you didn't count for leap year or something like that. So yeah, I asked Grok, how many days has it been since September 11th, 2001? And it says answer, it has been 8,650 days since September 11th, 2001. So yeah, it looks like it was right on the money. That is interesting. So the day James Comey posted 8647 and everybody thought it was about Trump, and I'm not saying it wasn't, that happened to be 8,647 days since September 11th. So very interesting, right? Right, Lonnie, is my math wrong? Well, I didn't do the math. I just asked Grok. You're convinced Comey did 9/11? Was he even in the FBI in 2001? I'm curious. So, damn. All right, let's watch this other clip here.
All right, what's up, guys? We just caught Ross Yeager, the head of OSHA for 5 states, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and both Dakotas. He was messaging who he thought was a 13-year-old girl very inappropriately, including sending penis pictures to her. And we approached him at his home today where he admitted to talking to other minors online and to getting very frisky with his niece, admitted to rubbing her butt and to her putting her hand where his penis is. We think there's more. We think there's more to it than that, obviously, and hopefully that gets investigated by the Yellowstone County sheriffs here in Montana. They are not arresting him today, despite the ample evidence of what we think is a crime. So we're going to be putting their.
Every other time he does one of these videos, the person gets arrested. So why is this federal employee, the head of OSHA in 5 states, seemingly being protected here? What the hell is going on?
Email. We're going to be putting their email in the description here, and please let your concerns be heard about why he was not arrested today, and or just give him an encouraging message to do the investigation and conclude in a proper manner so this guy can be behind bars. This guy is a federal government employee, not just anyone, but one that's pretty high up, at least in OSHA. So, yeah, share this, and of course, tag Elon Musk. We're going to get this guy cut out of the government. We need Doge on this.
So, Lonnie, May 15th was 8647. I think that's the day James Comey posted it. You can go to his Instagram and find it. What day did James Comey post 8647? Let's see what Grok says. May 15th, right here. So you can't see it on my phone. It doesn't show up on the camera. So James Comey posted 8647 photo on Instagram Wednesday, May 15th, 2025. So danger, it looks like that's right, man. The day James Comey posted 8647 was exactly 8,647 days after 9/11. Very, very interesting. So what the hell? What the hell is going on? That is so freaking bizarre. Like, what are statistically, what are the chances of that happening? Like, I almost want to ask Grok statistically, what are the chances of him accidentally posting that? Wally World, is that snow behind him? Yeah, it's snow. Yeah, it's snow. And if it's not snow, why is he in shorts? He always wears shorts and a t-shirt. It doesn't matter what the weather is. He's crazy. He's always wearing shorts and a t-shirt, no matter where he goes to. So, all right, we'll keep going here. Let's go back. I'm going to go back to the California stuff now. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll go back. We're going to talk California stuff now. I'm debating because there's like Hillary Clinton stuff I want to talk about, and there's some other stories that I want to talk about. But we'll wrap up the show, the last 40 minutes or so, with just California stuff. So, because there's a lot. Well, it's not a ton, but there's a decent amount more stuff that I want to cover. So I posted this video probably a year or two ago, and this is driving through Oakland off of 12th Street, and this was like the gnarliest encampment in Oakland. It was there for years. This one dude had a straight up 2-story shack built like out of discarded building materials, and I'll just play the video for you guys really quick, and then we'll discuss why I'm playing this.
All right, folks. Welcome to Oakland's Hooverville. This blows my mind. This is a little shanty town. Check this out. They built houses, straight up houses. Look at all this. This is absolutely mind-boggling. It's insane. They just allow this. It's Hooverville. And look, you got burnt out cars all over the place. There's a burnt out RV down this road yesterday. Yep, still there.
So you see that? It's just like a burnt out RV, and there's like 3 or 4 of these there. There was.
There's Oakland isn't real.
All right. So the reason I'm playing that is because apparently Oakland's largest homeless camp is being demolished. 79 residents of the East 12th Street camp have been offered rooms in a new shelter, city official says. Other unhoused people say they've been left out. Okay, so yeah, this is that encampment, and there's another video that I have where I roll around the front of it, and the front is even like crazier to look at because people put like front doors on there. There's like couches out front. It was seriously like a community that they built. So this is from what? Okay, this is Oakland side. This is the news outlet Oakland side. So over the next few weeks, city workers will dismantle Oakland's largest homeless encampment block by block. The removal of the East 12th median camp, and this it's a median camp because you have 12th Street on one side, and I think it's 14th Street on the other side, and it makes like a big triangle, and it's all just like kind of open space right there. It's like a median. And that's where they decided to build these houses made of discarded building materials. The removal of the East 12th median camp, made of dozens of wooden shacks, RVs, cars, and tents perched on the road embankment between 14th and 18th Avenues, would be an accomplishment for the city, which has tried for years to close the turbulent camp, and now has a state grant to move 79 people to their new shelter. But the process has left dozens of residents feeling confused or neglected. Residents. On Monday, the first day, city crews tore down structures and scooped up debris. Tensions reached a high when the city narrowly avoided injuring an unhoused resident. After a lunch break, the police quickly cordoned off a portion of East 12th between 16th and 17th Avenue with caution tape, ushering people standing on that part of the street away from the area. With heavy equipment standing at the ready, city workers gave residents who were standing there a moment to move pallets and buckets of their belongings outside of the taped-off zone. This is good to go, one worker called for others afterwards, gesturing toward a red tiny house on wheels. A bulldozer plowed through it, and in the process, the house banged into a gray structure next door, jostling it. Previously, another bulldozer had torn down a portion of the gray structure in the back. After the machine powered off, police checked out the gray structure, finding a woman living inside. I didn't check before. She came out a few minutes later, seemingly uninjured but dazed, carrying a duffel bag and a crate. She declined to talk to Oakland side about the experience. Observers, mainly supporters of the homeless residents, were incensed. That was fucking dangerous, one yelled at the city crew. Okay, so I think you guys get the point. Here's a bunch of pictures. I mean, it's crazy. There's video clips here, but yeah, this encampment was gnarly. And I was supposed to have on a guest, Northside, damn, 79. Yeah, that was my Chrysler that I was driving in. One Raven figures our OSHA guy would be the nasty old bastard. I knew people at Yellowstone County. I got to get to the bottom of that one. Yeah, please do. I was supposed to have on a guest tonight from an organization called Food Not Bombs, which is they do good stuff. I went down and I visited them yesterday, and they set up tents, and they have a kitchen where they make vegan food for homeless people, and they have a bunch of volunteers that come out and they hand out food, and it's privately funded. They don't get taxpayer dollars for this. This is all done through private donations and volunteers. So, you know, people that are going to help feed the homeless and they're not taking taxpayer funds to do it, I got nothing but respect for people like that. I will say the gentleman that's going to come on my show, we probably disagree on approaches about how to fix the homeless situation, but we agree on a lot of things. We definitely agree that there's a massive homeless problem. We agree that there's massive money laundering operations going along with, or that are run through these non-governmental organizations, NGOs, that hand out fentanyl needles and crack pipes and are tasked with fixing the homeless situation. I talk about this a lot, so I won't get into it too much today, but this should be a great conversation, and we moved it to next Sunday because we had like a little scheduling mix-up, and I guess his account got suspended on Twitter, so we couldn't communicate. He created another account and got a hold of me, but we're going to do this next Sunday. So I hope you guys tune in next Sunday because it'll be a good conversation. I'm not going to like push back too hard on him. I will, you know, when we talk about best approaches towards solving the homeless problem, I mean, I'll probably disagree with him on some things, but I'm not going to be combative with him because he's a good dude and he's doing a good thing. Yeah, so I'll sort of leave it at that. We'll keep going with more California news here. So this is from Grant Cardone, who if you guys don't know Grant Cardone, and he's kind of like a philanthropist, very wealthy individual, and yeah, he does stuff with real estate and marketing and all sorts of stuff. But he has a home in Malibu, one of the only homes that didn't burn down, and apparently there is rumblings that the government, Los Angeles or the state of California, is going to be taking over all of the Malibu and Palisades coastline, all of the houses that burned down, and they're going to do it under eminent domain. And this may include Grant Cardone's house that survived the fires. So let's listen to this interview, or this clip from an interview with Grant Cardone.
The rumblings in the state of California. You have the last house standing on Malibu Beach. It was singed by the fires. It was not leveled. Very fortunate for you, obviously. But you're hearing rumblings now that those beaches in Malibu, including your house potentially, may be taken by the government under eminent domain. And it's just rumblings and rumors and so forth. But that's very concerning. What do you hear?
I got a phone call yesterday from a guy that sells trillions with a T of insurance premiums per year worldwide. He's actually covering my home, okay, and along with a 15,000 unit portfolio that we cover with him. And he says, Grant, are you hearing anything about eminent domain on the coastline? And I said, no, I haven't heard that yet.
I'm going to take this time to remind you guys to please like the episode on whatever platform you're watching it on, share it on other platforms, follow me, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're watching over on X, repost the show. Definitely helps draw more people to the show. Thanks for everyone for being here.
What are you talking about? And he's like, we're hearing the first rumblings from property owners that are trying to get covered, that nobody can understand. Why is nothing being done? Why is the beach not being picked up? Why haven't the bore samplings and environmental stuff been done? Why are only 4 permits been approved in 4 months? And those 4 permits, by the way, Steve, were done before the fires. So they were already in place. And the talk is now that the state of California is planning to seize the coastline in Malibu.
So it's not confirmed. It's just rumors as of right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if this happened, if this turned into a massive land grab. So last week we talked about the beaches being, completely contaminated with that algae plume, and then all of the runoff from the fires, septic tanks leaking into the ocean, all that kind of stuff. Well, I saw this video that caught my eye because it's out of Marina del Rey, which is probably 10 miles south of the fires. And there's like a little bay there. There's a bunch of boats and some houseboats in this little bay that they have right there in Marina del Rey. You SoCal folks are familiar with the area, but this was all in the water. So this is from, I think it was also from Wall Street Apes, but the watermark on the video says Camp Tex, so I'm not sure who that is. But look at this footage coming out of Marina del Rey, and I'll make my video. I'll make the video a little bigger so you guys can see it better. But this is like this sludge on top of the water. Like, what is this, you guys? So that's going on in Marina del Rey. I mean, what is happening to our waterways and our beaches? It's not good. So here's another post from Wall Street Apes. So apparently, this is some just more LA stuff. Apparently, Mayor Karen Bass took billions of taxpayer dollars, and paid the Los Angeles Police Department for an endorsement. So she bought off the police to endorse her, allegedly. Like I said, the LA PPL, LA Union, Los Angeles Police Protective League runs him, and they actually run the mayor too. The whole reason why this new budget is structured that way is because she took our money, a billion of our dollars, and paid the LA PPL for an endorsement, and that's a fact. The Los Angeles Police Protective League, the union representing LAPD officers, did not endorse Karen Bass during her 2022 mayoral campaign. So after winning, she took taxpayer money and paid off the labor union and officers. This is a payoff to ensure Democrats maintain power in future elections and secure endorsements. I don't know the laws, but this sounds highly illegal to me.
Good morning.
So if I heard this correctly, Commissioner Sanchez Gordon, you are praising the chief for a critical incident video, something that is required by policy. Now, he does his little Hollywood edit to it, right? I would prefer he just release the body-worn video as is and treat us like adults and let us make up our minds, but he produces those videos because he thinks there are some idiots that will fall for it. You fit the bill. As for you, Vice President, you mentioned that you were troubled by the 403 civilian personnel that are being laid off. You know how many actual street cops are being laid off? How many cops are being laid off? 0. 403 civilian personnel are being laid off. Why? Because they are not represented by the LAPPL. That's why. But it's a scam because now, like he said, he's going to take uniform officers and have them do that job at time and a half as overtime. We're not saving any money off of it. They're making bank, the LAPPL. Now, like I said, LAPPL runs him, and they actually run the mayor too. The whole reason why this new budget is structured that way is because she took our money, $1 billion of our dollars, and paid the LAPPL for an endorsement, and that's a fact. And then she told this guy, because LAPPL wants it, that he needs to go easy on cops and improve morale. So he has these working groups right now that are made up of 10 people, 5 of them LAPPL directors, who are going into command staff and kicking out certain command staff. From my understanding, you can hear it from me first, we're in the process of having a vote of no confidence by command staff against Barney Rubble right here. I saw you yesterday at the budget meeting. I noticed that you were sitting next to Craig Lally, the president. He wasn't sitting next to you. You were sitting next to him because that is the order. He runs you. And like I've been told by many people, the LAPPL is in your office on a regular basis, overthrowing all types of complaints. All of them. Yeah, you could shake your head, but it's the truth. He runs your ass. The LAPPL runs your ass, just like they run the mayor. I was talking about Ralph Campos last week, who is the LAPPL director. I was talking about his business. He's got another business, 911 Entertainment. His business partner over there, you guys gave a commendation to not so long ago, a SWAT officer when he was in Rampart Crash, who kidnapped the kid and took him to a rival gang area, dropped him off, and he was killed. And then he hid it for 5 years. And now he works on the fucking SWAT team? You guys are disgusting.
All right, so that video didn't seem to be related to the actual post there, but I get the point. People are pretty pissed at the people running the LAPD, which is one of the nation's largest police organizations. If it's not, well, I think the NYPD is bigger, but there's been a lot of scandals involving the LAPD through the years, and I wouldn't doubt if there's any sort of pay-to-play thing going on between the LAPD and Mayor Karen Bass. So we'll keep going here. This is just so this is something else that I want to talk to Keith McHenry, one of the co-founders of Food Not Bombs. Is I want to know his sort of policy positions on both needle exchange programs, which they're not really needle exchange programs. They're just NGOs that go out and hand out fentanyl needles and crack pipes. And then also what they call safe injection sites, which are exactly what they sound like they are. They're locations where people can go shoot up drugs and just shoot up drugs and be high in these buildings or facilities. And these are, my biggest problem is that these are taxpayer funded things. And with our roads being absolute garbage, us being taxed to oblivion, homeless encampments everywhere, open borders, paying for health insurance for illegal immigrants, all sorts of things like that. My tax dollars and your tax dollars going to fund paraphernalia being handed out to drug addicts, I'm not cool with that. And, so I want to know what Keith's position is on it as well. And I'm not going to get in a huge heated argument with him about it. But I mean, as a libertarian, I'll say that if they want to privately fund that somehow, where it's not taxpayer dollars, and they want to hand out fentanyl needles and crack pipes, I don't want people shooting up drugs on the streets. I still don't think that should be cool. But if they want to use private money to hand that stuff out, I mean, whatever. That's not really my problem. It's if they want to do it, they can go ahead and do it. Same thing with like safe injection sites, I guess. Even though I don't see how it's going to help anybody's addiction problem. I don't see how it's going to help the homeless problem. They argue that people can't just go cold turkey and come off the drugs. I mean, I don't know if I agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't agree. People can't just go cold turkey. It's going to be hard. It's going to be withdrawals. It's going to be rough. But people have done it. People have cleaned themselves up. Anyway, this is a person in Southern California who's he talking to? Some county supervisor, I believe. This is city council, LA City Council, Nithya Raman, and she's talking with a Los Angeles taxpayer, and he's talking about this exact thing. And I mean, I tend to agree with him here.
Right, but the budget deficit is enormous. I mean, it's symbolic.
A lot of the money.
Every road in this town is broken. Every road is broken. Do you know that? Do you see this?
That's why I'm fighting for the transportation dollars. That's why
you're spending $1 billion giving money to drug addicts who are buying drugs with the money, and you know that.
Well, yes.
Nithya, we have money that's not accounted for.
You know what? I'm just going to listen because I feel like you want me to listen.
No,
so I'm going to listen.
This is a question. Two questions.
Because every time I try and answer your question.
I'm happy, but you're giving evasive answers.
I'm not giving evasive answers at all.
5%, 30%.
I don't. Sorry. This is.
I mean, it's a direct question. You can give a direct answer.
See, this is what happens when these politicians that are completely disconnected with everyday average Californians. This is what happens when they're confronted with the policies that they're enacting that are making lives for everyday ordinary citizens more difficult. They don't have answers. They don't have a way to justify the decisions that they're making. And I don't know if it's that they're just downright evil, or if they are actually like true believers and they think that they're actually helping, and they're just completely disconnected and they don't know any better. But either way, the problem's just getting worse. I mean, why is it that all of the deep blue, heavily run Democrat cities, not just in California, but all throughout the country, have the worst homeless problems, have the highest housing prices, have the shittiest roads? I mean, these Democrats are the ones that claim that they're the party of the people. They want to make housing more affordable. They want to address the homeless situation, but housing keeps getting more expensive. Our roads keep getting worse, and the homeless problem keeps snowballing and getting worse. Like, it's all lip service. Everything they say they want to address, they just say we need more money to do it, and they get more money, and the problems just keep getting worse. I mean, at what point do we just say, okay, these people are just either fucking lying or they're just straight up incompetent, or both? And like, this is the frustration of Californians. But and a lot of people will say, well, you get what you vote for. And yeah, a lot of people, especially in these blue areas like San Francisco and LA and Sacramento, they vote. Yeah, they do. They vote. And the coastal elites that are also completely disconnected and insulated from these problems that we see on a daily basis, they do vote for Democrats. They are like true believers, progressives, that kind of thing. But there are tons of right-leaning, or at least center right-leaning people in California. And I think it's more than half. I say it all the time, but and I think universal mail-in ballots are a bigger problem than voter ID. But universal mail-in ballots, no voter ID laws. In fact, it's illegal for county clerks to ask, or poll workers to ask for ID. They've straight up made it illegal. They made hand counting ballots illegal. There's ballot harvesting. They've got like 30 to 60 days after an election to count the votes. Yet right when the polls are closed, they call the election for, the blue candidate, except in areas where the race is really tight. And then when the Republican candidate's ahead, you'll see those votes always take the longest. And then they keep counting votes. They keep curing ballots, and then somehow that Democrat candidate always seems to eke out a win. I think our elections are completely fraudulent, and I know I'm not the only one that thinks that, but so it's like a combination of, yes, there's people that are completely disconnected from reality and don't seem to make the connection between these crazy progressive policies that are making all the problems they claim to be addressing much worse and who they're voting for. But they'll still complain about the problems. But I think it's more of a fraudulent election situation, personally. And I know I'm not the only one that thinks that. All right, we'll keep going here. So this is from Dr. David Ameti. So he says, so this is from KTLA. A disturbing death investigation is unfolding at the problem homeless encampment in LA, at problem homeless encampments in LA, where 2 people were found dead, including one who neighbors say was partially eaten by dogs. So they found 2 dead people in like a tent. One was partially eaten by dogs, and there you go. I mean, I'm also an advocate for bringing back sanitariums, but this is one of the reasons too why I want to talk to Keith McHenry, the founder of Food Not Bombs, is because there needs to be discussion between the right and the left about what we agree on the problem. We agree that there is a homeless problem, a mental health problem, and a drug addiction problem. We agree on that. We just agree on the approach of how to fix that problem. And everybody is so tribalized and in their own camps, on their own teams, that nobody wants to talk to each other. Everybody's just talking past each other, blaming each other, calling each other horrible names, when we actually agree that we agree the exact problems that need to be addressed. So I'm hoping to sort of bridge a gap with Keith, and we can have a logical, friendly discussion on how to best correct the homeless situation, because we all agree it's a problem. We all agree that mental health and drug addiction is a huge problem that needs to be addressed, but we're fighting each other so much that we're not actually listening to each other. So that's what I'm hoping to accomplish next week, Sunday at 5 o'clock. So I hope you guys tune in for that episode. I hope you guys join in the chat and ask any pertinent questions. So continue. Dr. David Ameti says, homeless crisis in LA isn't just a social problem, it's a humanitarian catastrophe. Is there any other place on earth where humans needlessly die on the streets, and adding insult to injury, their corpses are consumed by dogs? This is not right. Blood is on the hands of criminal and corrupt, negligent leaders like Mayor Karen Bass, California Governor Gavin Newsom, and who's this? Santa Monica City Council member Jesse Zwick. And who is this? Santa Monica City Council member Carolyn Torosis, who deliberately perpetuate homelessness as justification for shuttling tens of billions of taxpayer dollars into their developer and NGO buddies who pocket the cash. And and I know that Keith McHenry and I agree on this, that there is some serious money laundering operations going on. If you guys want to listen to Keith McHenry talk, that he did a great interview with Jimmy Dore. Just go onto YouTube and search Jimmy Dore, Keith McHenry. They have a great conversation. And we both agree that there's a major problem with the homeless industrial complex, and it's a giant money laundering operation and people getting rich off of it. I don't want to insult the third world by applying that label to us. This is far worse than what happens in any developing nation, where the poor at least have the dignity of a proper burial. Something must change immediately. And I 100% agree with them. So that's going to be the discussion next Sunday, is how to fix the homeless situation, or at least improve the homeless situation. So, all right, we got some news about CARB. You guys know CARB, the California Air Resources Board. Even if you're not in California, you should know CARB, because they dictate policy throughout the rest of the United States. Whatever they start doing in other blue counties and cities and states, and it seems to be becoming like national policy. These are all green energy initiatives, regulations on the auto industry. It's why we don't have small trucks anymore. It's why we don't have that Toyota truck that's like $15,000 that you can buy brand new. It's a bare bones Toyota truck with roll up windows, no freaking radio. It's stick shift. It's total utilitarian. 15 grand, brand new. We can't have it here in the U.S. because of CARB. And cafe standards. It's ridiculous. We deserve a small, affordable pickup truck, and so many blue collar tradesmen would buy this truck if we could have it here, but we can't because of CARB and cafe standards. So they're trying to enact more policies that are just going to make our gas prices more expensive. So this is from my favorite California news journalist. This is Ashley Zavala. She is freaking fantastic. And let's listen to what she has to say here.
And first, we begin with some breaking news. Clean air rules approved by California's Air Resources Board are on hold tonight. Thank you for joining us here for our News at 6. I'm Edie Lambert.
I'm Gulston Dart. Now, those rules were expected to raise gas prices. This is all on hold now. So here's how it goes. Here's a breakdown. A notice posted online. CARB says that the Office of Administrative Law rejected the changes it approved last November. So that office, OAL, ensures that state agency regulations are clear, necessary, legally valid, and available to the public. So we reached out to the OAL to ask why it blocked CARB's updated rules. We're still waiting to hear back on that. But CARB says in its notice that it anticipates receiving more information from the OAL detailing its reasons for the decision. Now, the changes to the low carbon fuel standard was controversial when it first came out. CARB approved them without giving California drivers an understanding of how the decision would impact gas prices, after initially saying the changes could result in an increase of 47 cents per gallon. The Air Resource Board later walked the number back and refused to analyze any actual potential cost impact. Now, CARB says it will address concerns raised by the Office of Administrative Law and then resubmit its changes. It has 120 days to do that. Any major changes will require the public's input, and we'll have much more on this throughout the time as it works its way through the system.
So this is supposed to go into effect in June, I believe, or July. And as California gas prices are just getting more and more expensive while the rest of the country's gas prices are going down, if this goes into effect, it's going to be boom, another 43 cents per gallon on top of the insane gas prices that we're already paying. And that's not even accounting for how much gas prices are going to increase when those two separate refineries shut down. So we're already paying $1.43 per gallon in gas taxes in California. Another 43 cents, you're looking at nearly $2 per gallon that we're paying just to California government. I believe the California government is making way more money per gallon than the actual oil companies. And Gavin says the oil companies are the ones gouging us. The California government is gouging us. In addition, they're talking about charging drivers per mile that they drive. And that's because they're not getting as much money from gas taxes because of their own green energy initiatives that are getting everybody to go over to electric vehicles. It's such a freaking fraudulent disaster. And they nickel and dime ordinary, everyday Californians for every last penny that they can. They squeeze and they squeeze and they squeeze until we leave. It's insane. It's insane. So this is another, I guess they're pushing it back. So this is like an update from Ashley Zavala after that clip that I just played. So she says, controversial updates to one of California's new clean air rules requires dozens of technical changes before they can go into effect, the state's Office of Administrative Law said Wednesday. The AOL released details behind the decision to temporarily block low carbon fuel standard updates the California Air Resources Board approved late last year. The updates were the center of controversy because of the board's lack of transparency around the impact on gas prices. Right. It's like we never know what they're actually doing. We never know what, like the cafe standards, why we don't have small pickup trucks anymore. Like nobody understands like how this stuff's actually calculated. It's based on like miles per gallon and then something to do with your wheelbase of the vehicle. Nobody can figure out like why don't we have small, like little early 90s Toyota and Nissan pickup trucks anymore? A little 4-banger, single cab, 5-speed, little pickup trucks that everybody used to buy because they were handy. They were great little vehicles, and we can't have them anymore because of this shit. But nobody can figure out why exactly. Like, what are the actual ins and outs that make it so we can't have these vehicles? So, sorry, I go off on tangents. The Office of Administrative Law ensures that the state regulations are clear, necessarily legally valid, and available to public before they go into effect. It announced last week that the regulations would not go into effect because of issues with clarity and or incorrect procedure. CARB's update, that's the California Air Resource Board, CARB's update low carbon fuel standards is more than 300 pages long. In its decision to block the regulation, the AOL said there were 26 sections or sentences that need to be rewritten in order to be clear and understood by those directly impacted by the rules. Many of those sections are related to CARB's executive officer, related to what CARB's executive officer can approve and review. Other issues revolve around CARB use of certain words in the rules, such as break ground and standard value. The AOL said its decisions to reject because of incorrect procedure requires non-substantive changes that will be discussed with the board. You can see the entire rejection letter here. CARB has expected the issue to be technical and has said it will resubmit the rules with necessary changes within the 120 days required. So as gas prices just steadily go up and up and up, we're going to see another real big add-on in gas taxes in the near future. $43 or 43 cents a gallon, 47 cents a gallon, something like that. I mean, we started a revolution over taxes less than this, you guys. Like, the founding fathers would be so disappointed in Californians for just allowing this shit, for them to just keep grinding us and grinding us. There's a reason, like I said it last episode, so I'll talk about it again. The California median income, the average income that Californians make, you take everybody's income from the richest to the poorest in California, that median income is higher than the rest of the country. At the same time, the California median income is higher than the United States median income. At the same time, 79% of Californians make less than the national median income. That means that the top 21% of earners are making so much more that it actually spikes the California median income higher than the national median income. That means that you have 21% of Californians being super rich and the 79% of Californians being, it's virtually unaffordable for us to live here. So what does that translate to? It translates to the hollowing out of the middle class. The middle class is virtually gone in California. So I'm single with no kids. I'm 41 years old. I have pretty much given up on ever owning a home. I pay $2,400 a month for a very small place. I love my place. Don't get me wrong. I live in the forest. I live in a great little community. There's a pool here. There's a pool table here. They like my dogs. It's wonderful. I love it. Don't get me wrong. But I'm paying, when I was a kid, my dad was renting a 2-bedroom duplex. I grew up small. My dad slept on a pull-out couch for like 12 years so me and my sister could have our own bedroom. But he was paying like $900 a month. And I remember when his rent got raised to $1,200 a month, and it was a big deal. Yeah, that was 20 years ago, but is that really how much rent should go up in 20 years? More than double? I don't know. They've hollowed out the freaking middle class in California, and it's all because of policy. The people that are talking the most about the wealth disparity from the richest people to the poorest people that claim to be the party of the people, they keep grinding the people for every last penny they can squeeze out of us. And for some reason, tons of progressive Californians that are in that 21% wage bracket don't seem to realize that the policies they're advocating for are killing us. They're killing the middle class. They're killing the poor. And additionally, you have to be poor to qualify for a lot of these social programs, free health care and, monthly payments that they'll give people for whatever programs they sign up for, PG&E assistance, all that kind of shit. So it's just an attack on the middle class. Everything they do is just an attack on the middle class, and that's who's leaving. The middle class, and then also like heads of industry that are, because the California makes it impossible to freaking run a business out here, especially a small business. So yeah, that's it. I'm done ranting and raving, I think, for the evening. Checking on the chat here. Danger, they are evil. Yeah, I mean, I think some are true believers. They actually believe that what they're doing is a good thing, and they're just wrong, and what they're doing is actually really hurting people. So, I mean, at that point, what's really the difference? Are they evil, or are they just incompetent? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's almost the same thing. Casey Martin, addiction is the main reason for homelessness. Addicts can't get a job, earn a wage, pay a mortgage or a rent. The homeless crisis exploded after the original Prop 36 passed, then Prop 47. It isn't a coincidence. I tend to agree, but the gentleman I spoke with yesterday says that a lot of these people on the streets aren't homeless. A lot of them have jobs. They're not addicted. They're living out of there's like levels of homelessness too. There's people that are living out of their RV. Then there's people that are living out of their car. Then there's people that are living on the streets. And what happens, you're living out of an RV, your RV breaks down. You can't pay to get it repaired. Then it's sitting in the same spot for too long. Then they tow your RV. Then maybe you get a car and you're living out of that for a while. Same thing happens. It breaks down. Can't pay for the tags. It's sitting in the same spot. They tow that. Now you're on the streets. You're getting a tent. Your life is filled with despair. You turn to drugs to dull the pain. I mean, it's this vicious cycle of things that happen. And I get it. It's not that I don't have sympathy for homeless people, but at the same time, I am very big on personal accountability, especially because I've seen so many people turn their lives around. And I was never homeless, but I've been very close several times. And I was a freaking drunk. I was a freaking alcoholic. I drank like 3/4 of a bottle worth of Jameson or Tula Mordu every night. That was my drink of choice. And I quit drinking in 2018. Then I moved up to the Santa Cruz Mountains, and I attribute a lot of that to, people make fun of it, I attribute a lot of that to the Joe Rogan podcast and guests that he's had on, particularly Jordan Peterson and Jocko Willink and David Goggins. But I made the active decision to just quit drinking. I was at work one day and my side was just hurting like crazy. And I thought I had kidney stones again. That's what I thought was going on. And it got so bad that I called Kaiser, and I was just like, I need an appointment at Good Health Insurance at the time because I still had a good job. I go in, and it wasn't my normal doctor. It was this old German lady, and she meets with me, and she was like, yeah, your freaking liver's swollen. Your liver is so swollen that it's pushing up against your other organs, and that's why you're feeling the side pain. And I left the doctors, and I'm driving home, and I remember the whole time I was like, I'm going to go to the liquor store and get a bottle. Even though my side was killing me, I knew my liver was swollen. Like, I knew I shouldn't be drinking. Still, I wanted to go pick up a bottle. And I just decided not to. That night, I just decided I'm not going to drink. And I didn't. And then the next day I didn't drink. And then the next day I didn't drink. And then I went a whole week without drinking. And it was the longest I'd ever gone without drinking since I became a drunk. And go figure, I haven't drank since. I haven't drank since then. It's been 7 years since I've had alcohol. And back then, if you would have told me that I'd be running ultra marathons one day, I would have laughed at you. Me and my friend had a bucket list goal to run a marathon together. We ran 40 miles together just for shits and giggles. It wasn't even a race. It wasn't even a marathon. We just went out and ran 40 miles together just cuz. So I'm not rich by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm like genuinely a happy person. I got a good career. I do this, like I really enjoy doing this. I don't make any money from this. And it's the only thing I can think of to try to improve my community. And that's why I do this. And I enjoy all you guys that join in the chat. I mean, Lonnie, you're one of my closest friends. I've freaking known you for over 20 years now. It's crazy how long we've known each other now, but other people that I've met through Twitter, X, and on here, freaking Casey Martin. I met you in person. Bob Tiergarten. Hopefully, I run with you someday. I know you're a badass. You're probably way faster than me. One Raven. I see you all the time. Wally World. Like some of you guys, I consider you guys friends. I mean, I saw Ruben in here earlier too. I don't know if you're still in here, Ruben, but that's my best friend's like brother-in-law. So it's I genuinely enjoy doing this. I've met so many people that I feel like I have no business talking to. There's 2 people that follow me that are in Trump's administration. Like, why the hell are they even following me? And I don't know. The point is, I turned my life around. It didn't make myself a rich person, but I'm living a high quality of life now. And this idea that homeless people need to be coddled and they need to be given fentanyl needles and they need to be given crack pipes and free this and free that, and we just need to allow them to rot away on the streets. I do not subscribe to that philosophy. There needs to be accountability. At a certain point, shame serves a purpose. And people, we need to rethink the way we do jails. And I mean, if somebody gets arrested for repeatedly doing drugs on the streets, that kind of thing, and then we had certain wings in the jails that would detox people and there was help for them where they could talk to people, talk to other people that have improved their lives, and they can go through some sort of program where they get clean, they get sober, and then there's a work program and they can have their record expunged because, you know, going to jail is not going to help you find a job. So they go through a program and it's not like you're going to jail. It's like you're going to a forced rehab program and there's like a light at the end of the tunnel type situation. So again, this is the type of conversation I want to have with Keith McHenry next week. And I hope you guys tune in for it. I'll finish up with the chat here. Let's see what else we got here. So Casey Martin, I got that one. Bob Tiergarten, I own my home in Pittsburgh and I pay less than $500 a month, including taxes. Rub it in, buddy. Rub it in. Well, if you ever make it out here, did you say you did the Big Sur marathon once? Come out here, man. Let's go trail running. I'll show some stuff. Go ahead and cuss me out. No, I won't do that. No, dude, I'm happy for you. I am genuinely happy for you that you have your own place. You're a badass runner. I don't know what your family situation is, but I imagine it's great. So great. I'm freaking ecstatic that you're living a high quality of life. The older houses in my neighborhood now rent for around $1,200 to $1,500 a month. Yeah, right. That's the thing. If you bought at the right time, your mortgage is like way less than a lot of people's rent now. Bob, you quit drinking in 2001. That's when I graduated high school, man. So great job. That's a long time. It's 24 years, man. Congratulations. One Raven, scary, similar situation to mine, all the way down to the Jameson. Well, I hope things are looking up because some of the best advice I ever got was no one's coming to save you. And it's true. No one's coming to save you. And surround yourself with people that are more successful with you. And then I looked around and I'm like, well, none of my friends are like more successful than me. We're all kind of in the same boat. And then I realized like, oh, hey, there's the internet. There's lots of people on the internet that have stories and ways and advice of how to improve your own life on your own. So no one's coming to save you, but there's a lot of people out there that'll have your back. So make of that what you will. Bob Tiergarten, I am also about to go on you're about to go run 14 miles like right now. Isn't it pretty late right now? I ran 4 miles today, and 3 weeks ago I ran 16 miles. And like when I was on my 4th mile, I was like, how did I run 16 miles? Because I rolled my ankle again, and I found my ankle brace, and it's like a game changer, man. So I can run on a busted ankle again. Danger, hell yeah, bro, you're killing it, and I agree. Accountability and integrity is a key. Well, you know what, Lonnie, I don't think you've realized how much you've helped me along the way and how much I look up to you and your family because you're killing it, man. Like you've come a long way. You've always you know what's funny? Lonnie, I don't know if you're still on here, but a long time ago, some of the best advice I ever got was Danger here in the chat, Lonnie. I don't even remember what I was complaining to him about, but I was just bitching and complaining about everything sucks in my life. Like everything sucks. This is probably fucking 25 years ago now. And the whole time I'm complaining to him, Lonnie's got like this like smirk on his face, like he's smiling. I was like, what? Like, what the fuck? Like, what are you smiling at? And he just looks at me and he goes, is your house clean? I was like, what? Like, and I just thought about it. I was like, no, it's a fucking disaster. Like, my house is a fucking disaster. And he was just like, how do you expect your life to be in order if your house isn't in order? And I was just like, God damn it. Like, God damn it. That makes so much freaking sense. And I hate you that you just like had that in your brain ready to go. This whole time I'm bitching and complaining about how everything sucks. So now, Lonnie, you've had a huge influence on me. You've always been again, surround yourself with people that are better than you. Bob Tiergarten, I ran the second leg of Big Sur Marathon Relay Mixed Masters team in 2022 for the We Be Crazies team. I don't even know what that. I don't do a lot. I've never done a road marathon, and I want to. I want to do the Big Sur Marathon, bro. if you want to do the Big Sur Marathon in 2026, I would love to meet you there. If you say you're going to do it, I 100% will do it. I'm already planning on doing it. So it's also a qualifier for Boston too. So that would be cool. I would love to get into Boston one day. One Raven, I quit 3 years ago. I have an awesome life. I love it. Like nothing makes me more happy than hearing that. I love it. Bob Cheergarden, almost midnight now. You're going to go run 14 miles at midnight. You're a nutbag, bro, and I love it. Danger Stolman, I'm here. You're always there, Lonnie. You're always there. That's why I love you, bro. All right, folks. I think that's all I got for the evening. I have like a whole other freaking episode ready to go just sitting here right now. One of the topics I've had ready to go for like 2 weeks, and I just keep not getting to it because it seems like less important than the other stuff I'm talking about. Bob, let me see what I can do. I'd love it. Lonnie, I'm glad I can make you laugh, bro. All right, that is all I got for tonight, folks. I'll be back either tomorrow or Tuesday, or I'm trying to do like 3 or 4 shows a week now. I'm really getting back into the swing of things. I've gotten better at getting shows ready in a more efficient way so I can have them ready to go when I get home from work. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night or on Tuesday. Unfortunately, my weeknight shows have to start at 7. It's just the earliest I can get them ready because I still got to run when I get home from work. Sorry, I got the hiccups. All right, guys. Thanks for joining in. This was a fun episode. Love you guys. Before we get out of here, I got to tell Chuck from the greatest book I've written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. Let's see what we have tonight. All right. All right. Chuck Norris joke of the evening, folks. I will see you tomorrow or Tuesday. And here we go. Chuck Norris joke of the night. The quickest way to a man's heart is with Chuck Norris' fist. And on that note, stay CaliBased.